Okay, so what I'm going to show in this video is how to make the transport branch using the passenger kilometers and tons kilometer approach, and then how to create the branch for the industry data that you have identified. So to create the transport branch, we want to right click on demand and click add. Then we're going to add a new branch called transport new. Underneath that branch, the first split of our transport branch will be into passenger and into freight. And we can change the data. We can change the activity variable. So at the moment it says % share for freight. So I'm going to change that to ton kilometer. And for passenger, I'm going to change that to passenger kilometer. So now I've got the right activity variables for each of these branches. Then under passenger, I'm going to click add. And I've got my different transport modes: road, rail, aviation, and shipping. I'm not going to do this for freight at the moment because we'll be able to copy and paste these branches underneath freight once we've got the whole structure completed. So under rail and aviation and shipping, we can then add we can then just add the fuels that are used. And if we take these from the existing transport branch, so if I copy diesel from rail and paste it under here, the advantage of that is that I then import all of the emission factors that are used. So now what I need to do or the data that I need to enter is the number of passenger kilometers, the percentage share of those passenger kilometers that are rail, the percentage share of the rail passenger kilometers that are using diesel as the fuel, and then the energy intensity, how much energy in gigajoules or tons of oil equivalent is consumed per passenger kilometer for rail. And then I have my emission factors per unit of energy consumed. So the energy intensity and the activity level are the data that we need to enter. And we can add in other types of fuel as well. So if you have coal that is used for your rail sector, I assume not, we can paste coal as well. And of course we can add electricity. So now I can split my passenger kilometers into the fraction that are consumed for different types of fuel, and enter the energy intensity, how many tons per passenger kilometer. For road, it is a little bit different. Road, I first need to split my road between different types of vehicles. So we've got passenger cars. We have, so these are just the sort of default types, but you can add in the ones that are specific to Morocco. So it's first splitting our road passenger kilometers into different types of vehicles, and then we split our type of vehicle into the fuel that is used, so gasoline, diesel, say electricity. So we have the number of passenger kilometers for passenger cars, then split into the different fuels used. And then the last disaggregation we want to have is for the different Euro standards. These we can get from the existing road transport branch. So if we look for passenger cars, we can add in uncontrolled. So this is pre-Euro. I want to copy the branch called distance travelled there and paste it under gasoline. This means all the emission factors will come with it as well. So that is a big advantage, that we get all of the emission factors. So I'm going to rename this branch called distance travelled as pre-Euro. And then I'm going to take Euro 1 and copy all of those until I've got to Euro 6. So I'm just copying and pasting from up here the distance travelled under each branch up to Euro 6. Now what you will notice under average environmental loading is that the emission factors are not correct. The emission factors are not correct. We've got a red, the equation here is in red, and therefore it is not it is not a correct value. So we need to correct that. Now, one of the reason when we look at the emission factors up here, it's in blue, is because we have this branch here called road M factor. So this is the emission factor, the number of grams per kilometer traveled. We want to be able to, we need this branch, this variable, to be seen down here. We want to be able to enter values for the road M factor under our new road transport branch. So when you have copied all of the branches under road transport, we then want to, and you're ready to delete this branch, we want to right click and select user variables, and then we want to find the user variable road M factor. Only do this once all the branches have been added here. Now at the moment, the visibility of the branch is where we tell Leap where we want to be enter variables for it. And at the moment, we can only see it under transport, road, detailed. But that's not where we want to be able to enter it here. We want to be able to enter it under transport new. We want to be able to enter it under transport new and these variables here. So we need to change that. we want to change it so that where the branch is visible is transport new. And we want it to be visible 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels down. So that 5 is correct. So if I click close, let's see what happens. I now have road M factor. No, I was incorrect. 6 levels down because I want to enter it for the pollutants. So let me go to user variables again and road M factor and change this to 6. So now I've got my road emission factors here. And if I look at my average environmental loading, they're blue for all of the variables except the road dust emissions. I think we could ignore those for now and just look at the vehicle exhaust emissions. So that's turned it blue because we've got the road M factor here. So the task is to just build this up for each of the types of vehicles, for each of the fuels used, for each of the emission standards. For both passenger and freight. So that's the transport sector. For the industry sector, the data that we have for industry is the production of types of materials in that industry and the amount of energy consumed per unit of production. So let's add and create a new branch called industry new. And then we're going to create our subsector. So let's say this is chemical industry. Okay, and the data that we want in the chemical industry is tons of production. How much product is produced? Okay, so we've got the tons of production. Then we want to add here the fuels that are used in that production. So we're going to select the branch that is the technology with energy intensity. And let's say we use diesel, called gas diesel oil in LEAP. So now we've got the industry where we've got the production. And then we've got the different fuels that are used. So the gas diesel oil, the percent share of tons of diesel oil. We could add a second fuel, which might be, say, natural gas. And when we have the share of the production that is made using natural gas versus the share of the production that is made using diesel oil. And then we have the amount of diesel, the amount of natural gas that is consumed per metric ton of production. So this is our energy intensity. How much energy in terms of diesel, in terms of natural gas is consumed per ton of production. So this industry is very simple in terms of how we create it. If we want to add in the emission factors, we can take them from the rest of industry branch here. So instead of creating instead of creating diesel and natural gas, we could copy it from up here, which is perhaps easier to add in the emission factors. If I then paste the gas diesel oil from at the top here, I add in a branch for diesel, but the difference to what I did originally is that I have my emission factors here as well. So I've got all the emission factors included. So it's easier when we create a new branch to add in the fuels from rest of industry, because that will allow us to add in the emission factors quickly. So let me do one more. So let's say this is the paper industry. And let's say the paper industry uses let's say heavy fuel oil, just as an example. If they use heavy fuel oil, I would go up to rest of industry all, copy heavy fuel oil, and paste it under paper. So that's how we create the transport and industry sectors in LEAP. Please let me know if you have any questions and we can discuss.